From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our top story, Denali National Park and Preserve rangers continue their investigation of a fatal accident that occurred on the park's highway yesterday near the entrance to the park.
Two vehicles collided head-on and exploded into flames near mile 236. The accident involved a southbound pickup truck, a sport utility vehicle that was heading north on the two-lane highway. The road was closed for most of the day, with a State Department of Transportation vehicle intermittently piloting motorists through the accident site. The highway reopened just before 10:30 last night. The cause of the accident is still unknown.
Because the crash occurred within the park boundaries and on federal land, the National Park is leading the investigation with assistance from the Alaska State Troopers Investigative Unit. We were able to determine yesterday that the only occupants of either vehicle were the drivers. We have tentatively identified them. Their names will not be released until the state medical examiner can make a positive identification.
Not guilty pleas this afternoon for a former police officer facing felony charges. 33-year-old Ryan Webb is charged with criminal impersonation, fraud, and theft. A grand jury indicted the former North Pole police officer early this month. Court documents say a former roommate contacted authorities claiming Webb used the roommate's information to obtain a credit card. Now, Webb was employed with the department from 2009 until he was terminated in 2011. The identity theft case reportedly occurred in 2013, nearly 2 years after Webb was terminated. Webb is currently out of jail. Trial for his case was set this afternoon in Fbx Superior Court from March 2015.
Two men are in custody after an alleged home invasion and armed robbery. 23-year-old Shamil Mabins and 20-year-old Michael Reynolds face felony charges, including first-degree armed robbery in connection with the December 6th incident. An affidavit states that 4 black males entered a Marianne Street residence after around 8 p.m. after knocking on the door. Their faces were covered with bandanas and they were wielding guns. A female victim said the men pointed their guns at all the occupants of the home before stealing $3,000 from her, along with an iPhone. Police were able to apprehend the suspects at a Ricker Street apartment where they found an iPhone matching the one stolen, along with 2 handguns. Both men admitted to the robbery, with Reynolds claiming he waited outside as the getaway driver. The 2 suspects are being held at Fairbanks Correctional Center.
A Fairbanks man faces felony charges after he allegedly pulled a gun on a woman while driving down the Johansson Expressway. 36-year-old Russell Noonan is charged with 3rd and 4th degree assault in the December 8th incident. Now, Noonan appeared in Fairbanks Superior Court this afternoon and pleaded not guilty to all charges. An affidavit states that female victim was forced into Noonan's truck. Now, she said Noonan then pulled a gun on her while he was driving. The victim jumped from his moving truck and landed on the side of the highway. Troopers were able to locate the victim after motorists reported seeing her leap from the vehicle on the Johansson. She was taken to the hospital for treatment of her injuries.
The Fairbanks Education Association raised some concerns over the recent labor relations processes at the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District. After dismissing their previous labor relations director, Gail Pierce, the district found numerous gaps in the way disciplinary actions were handled, specifically after an investigation of longtime employee Claude Folks revealed other mishandlings within the department. According to officials, numerous employees had significant disciplinary issues that had not been properly resolved and were contacted by other employees asking that previous investigations be reviewed. The FEA has since expressed concerns to the district regarding the changes implemented by the Human Resources Department, one of which includes a lack of communication to district employees. FEA reported there was a heightened anxiety felt by teachers in the district, even stating that some believed an interrogation room was built to question employees. The district scheduled a meeting with FEA for January of 2015.
All right, Mike Schultz is joining us now for our first look at weather.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. That's because we have some snow falling out there right now. We have a little bit of snow moving up from the south. You can see it on the radar as we move in on the Fairbanks area, and you see it just developing in the last couple hours, and it's getting a little bit heavier. We might even get a little bit of accumulation out of it possibly, and the whole trend is for a mainly colder temperature, well, cold temperatures, enough to crystallize any moisture we have in the air into snowflakes. So we're looking at that to continue for the next few days through Christmas. We'll talk more about that and talk about some severe weather in the lower 48, deaths from tornadoes. We'll tell you all about that with the weather later on. Stephanie, Daryl?
You know, I did live in the South for a few years, and tornadoes, they are pretty scary and unexpected business down there.
All right, when we come back, Borough Mayor Luke Hopkins is developing a group to regulate marijuana in the interior.
Also, at this time of year, children are visiting other people and need to be watched for potential injuries. Those stories are next. Stay with us.
And welcome back. Alaska Governor Bill Walker has signed an agreement with the Japanese energy company, formally declaring a commitment to form a partnership in developing Alaska's liquefied natural gas market. Walker called the Memorandum of Understanding signed with Resources Energy Inc. today an important first step for the state's energy future. Under the previous administration, the state and Japanese agencies agreed to keep the lines of communication open over a proposed mega LNG project.
Alaska State Troopers say a 13-year-old Husia boy was transported to Fairbanks Youth Facility charged with sexual assault. The teen was taken into custody earlier this month, but his identity has not been released due to his age. Now, little information is available at this time. However, troopers say the boy engaged in sexual contact without the consent of the victim. Now, the teen now awaits arraignment in Fairbanks District Court.
Fairbanks North Star Borough Mayor Luke Hopkins wants to get ahead of the game in preparation for regulated marijuana sales. Voters approved the ballot measure allowing the sales, and the mayor is putting together a group to see what needs to be done locally. Hopkins said they understand that the legislation to regulate the sale of marijuana still has to be created at the statewide level, but he believes they can work on it now so a lot can be ready when the state is finished. He said the main issue will be zoning, and once the proposals are put together, the Assembly will have to approve them.
We understand that the legislation at the statewide level has to be created, boards, but there's many pieces that local municipalities can participate in or choose not to participate in. Looking at a cross-section through our community is what I think is the best way to get an adequate representation as to what might happen. This is basically issues of economic development. People want to have businesses. That's what the voters asked for. We'll move forward with that. We may have to modify our own ordinances at some point whenever the state decides to put their regulations in effect.
Alaska Governor Bill Walker recently named Heidi Dragus of Fairbanks as the state's Department of Labor Commissioner. Dragus has a long history of working on issues involving employment law and labor relations in Alaska. Governor Walker continues to fill out his cabinet with Fairbanks names, including Chief of Staff Jim Whitaker, DNR Commissioner Mark Myers, and Budget Director Pat Pitney. Walker hinted that more interior residents may be tabbed for cabinet positions when he spoke with the Fairbanks business community last week. Walker also discussed plans for celebrating Christmas, his first as governor of Alaska.
We're going to spend Christmas at the governor's house in Juneau. Our family's going to be there, and so we're very excited about that. I call it the people's house, and I appreciate that the people have allowed us to live there for 4 years, so I don't refer to anything other than the people's house.
Visiting with friends and family is a normal holiday tradition. Monty Bowen talks about making sure your children are safe when you go on those visits and your children are in strange surroundings.
Relatives enjoy seeing little ones, but parents need to be extra cautious when visiting someone's home that may not be child-proof. Doctors say it's important for parents to survey the room for potential pitfalls.
When families are visiting friends or family from out of town or they're in somebody else's home, good idea to scan the landscape and see what looks really interesting to young children and remove it.
Anything that's shiny and bright will be a magnet for small children and could pose a hazard, so keep a close eye on your kids. Small toys or objects, button batteries, even potpourri could be potential choking or ingestion hazards. If you're visiting an older person's home, it's a good idea to make sure medicines and cleaning supplies are put away and out of a child's reach. Holiday excitement and festivities can put everyone on edge, including kids, so sticking with a routine as close to normal as possible will help avoid a merry meltdown.
Even though your child seems like they're excited, they're probably a little more stressed than they typically are. So try to maintain a good bedtime. Try to maintain the routines that you already have set up. Try to make sure your kids eat right and get enough sleep.
It's also a good idea to carefully inspect gifts that have been given to a young child by well-meaning relatives to make sure the gift is age appropriate. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
All right, Joe Cook is coming up with more weekend sports results. Plus, he'll start the moments of the year in Nanook sports. That's cool.
That sounds interesting. All right, all that and more coming up with Joe.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the Sports Seat for you with your Tuesday Sports. As 2014 winds down, we tend to get a little nostalgic and reflect on the year. So in this week's Nanook Corner, we relive some of the top moments of the year in Nanook sports. The Nanook Rifle team finished 2013-2014 strong. They made it to the national final on March 15th. They finished as the national runner-up. Junior Tim Cherry led the Nanooks by winning the small bore national title. He's the first national small bore champ since Olympic gold medalist and UAF alum Jamie Byerly Gray did it in 2006. UAF was strong on the national scene in 2014. Senior Max Olix pushed his way to a national second-place finish in the 20K free skate in the NCAA championships on March 8th. It was his national championship debut. Olix snatched his silver medal. Despite falling down early in the race, he finished with a time of 43 minutes, 56.3 seconds to cap his Nanook skiing career. He was also named an NCAA first-team All-American. Speaking of debuts, Nicole Baith made a splash. She was a first-team All-American as a freshman on the women's ski team. She won the 5K NCAA Central Region title on February 15th, then placed fourth in the NCAA Championships on March 6th. How about the Nanook hockey team's 5-0 start to the 2014-2015 season, which included tournament titles? On October 10th and 11th, the Nanooks won the Kendall Hockey Classic with a 1-0 win over Wisconsin and a 5-2 victory over Maine. The next weekend, Alaska won its third straight Bryce Alaska Go Rush title with 4-3 wins over Air Force and Penn State.
Nanook Corner, brought to you by Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
We'll have more top plays and moments from Nanook Sports as 2015 approaches. Now some news from the North American Hockey League. Friday, it was announced that the parent company of the Keystone Ice Miners ended its membership with the league. Hat Trick Hockey Incorporated, the parent company, voluntarily resigned its membership. The NHL League office and executives will take over for the Ice Miners. The team is based in Connorsville, Pennsylvania. They will complete the schedule and the playoffs if the team gets a berth. Back in May, the club relocated from Port Huron, Michigan to Connorsville. Now, how does this affect the Fairbanks Ice Dogs? Well, it actually won't. The Ice Dogs will play the Ice Miners January 2nd and 3rd in Connorsville. That series will go on as scheduled. The Ice Miners defeated the Johnstown Tomahawks 2-1 in an epic 20-round shootout on Saturday, a day after the announcement. It's the second longest shootout in NHL history. Keystone is 5th in the North Division and Johnstown 6th. Fairbanks is 2nd in the Midwest Division after the Minnesota Wilderness picked up a win on Saturday. The Ice Dogs take on the Johnstown Tomahawks on December 30th, their first games after their break. Some local skiers made their presence felt over the weekend in the Besh Cup. Local athletes had top 5 finishes from the collegiate and high school ranks in the second day of action on Sunday. Becca Royalbaugh, a Fairbankson and APU skier, placed 3rd in the girls' U18 Plus Division 10K race. West Valley's Ty Donaldson was the runner-up in the U14-16 5K boys race. Jenna DeFalco placed 3rd in the girls race for the Wolfpack. Kayla Ratzloff won the U12 2.5K race, while Josh Barwick placed 3rd in the boys division. The Besh Cup is a 6-race series that is a qualifier for the U.S. Junior Olympic National Championships in March. The series continues in Soldotna on January 17th, and the last races will be in Fairbanks on January 31st. Here are some more results from a full weekend of high school basketball for interior teams. The Delta Junction Huskies girls and boys teams, they finished 0-3 in the Grace Grizzly Classic tournament at Grace Christian School. The boys rallied late but lost 60-67 to Mount Edgecombe in the finale. Delta's Martise Blankenship and Micah Helkin were all tournament selections. The girls lost 11-70 in their finale against Bethel. Galena Hawks lost to Grace. The girls team lost 46-55 to the Grizzlies, and the boys team lost 46-55. Galena's Evan Buchanan and Jacob Miller, though, they made the all-tournament team. Rome Harris was named tournament MVP for Galena. Sarah Buchanan was also an all-tournament pick for the Hawks as well. The Monroe Rams girls team, they split 2 games against the Glen Allen Panthers. The Rams won 45-37 on Friday, but the Panthers came back with a 42-38 win on Saturday. And the Effie Cochran boys, they swept Toke with a 69-21 win on Saturday. The Warriors are 2-0 to start the season. Tomorrow, we will talk to a local basketball program that will be in Hawaii for their winter break, find out who they are and why they're going to Hawaii on Wednesday. But that's it for sports tonight. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, and I promise I won't sing. We are looking at a little bit of light snow falling around the Fairbanks area right now. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Our photograph tonight, this one is a very nice shot of the sculpture downtown. Look at the colors on that. Beautiful, like an aurora shot. That's captured by Susan Roberts, and I appreciate that contribution. And as always, if you have a contribution you want to share with the audience, send it to photos@ktbf11.com. Here are your numbers, I should say. The high today is 0, which it is right now with a little light snow falling. The low last night, 8 degrees below 0. In 1985, it was 44 degrees for the record high, but in 1961, dropping down to 53 below. We're glad we're not seeing that. Sunrise and sunset, not much change from yesterday because our total daylight is 3 hours and 43 minutes, which means we've gained 29 seconds from yesterday. Here is the satellite and radar long-distance shot. As you can see, we have a little bit of circulation going on down in the Gulf of Alaska and some moisture trying to work its way in from the west. I was talking about that last night. The flow is becoming a little more southwesterly, which is a little more conducive to us getting a little bit of light snow, so we can keep our fingers crossed and hope that continues. Across southeast Alaska, quite a bit of rainfall there. And as far as the map is concerned, you can see that rain falling around the Ketchikan area. Juneau at 29 degrees. Little snow shower activity for Anchorage all day long, 28 degrees there. Kodiak reporting light rain and snow, and some rain along the Aleutian Chain at Cold Bay. Otherwise, Barrow, mainly cloudy, 5 degrees below 0, and cloudy skies at Fort Yukon, 2 degrees below 0. Let's head to the lower 48 and talk about some interesting weather there. It continues to rain over the Pacific Northwest, not too bad up and down the west coast. The snow has stopped across the Central Plains, not too bad in Texas. But here's where it gets really interesting and gets very nasty too. Strong, powerful thunderstorms, not depicted here, but you'll see it on the satellite and radar, those stretching all the way over the Florida Peninsula, and some rain over the northeast. But look at this massive system that is moving across the eastern half of the country, and very uncharacteristic weather for this time of year, with softball-sized hail reported in parts of Mississippi. Also a tornado, unfortunately, killing 4 folks in Mississippi, all because of this clashing of the two climates, the cool air and colder air to the north and the warm, humid air to the south. And well out to the west, it looks like for the most part things are a little showery over there, as we saw earlier. The overall outlook for tonight, as that storm system continues to move to the north, will be a mix of weather around Detroit stretching southward, windy and colder behind this system with more snow, and rain and wind out ahead of the system over the northeast. And the overall jet stream, once again later on this week, is not going to show much change because everything will be transported from the north down to the south and then over to the east, kind of making for a real mixed bag of weather there for Christmas, unfortunately. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Here's what it looks like for the northern sections. Cloudy skies, areas of fog at Barrow and Fort Yukon. A few clouds in the Nome region. Over the the interior sections, cloudy skies for Fairbanks and Heating. Partly cloudy skies for Delta Junction. Can't rule out some occasional light snow also. And as far as southeast Alaska, the rain will continue and then change to snow in Juneau. And also rain showers for Ketchikan, while over the southwest part of the state, looking at snow likely in Bethel, rain in Cold Bay, and rain and snow at Kodiak. And over the south central regions, looking at a little snow at Anchorage, rain and snow in Homer, and snow for Valdez. Okay, time once again for our weather fact as the kids are on vacation. And our weather fact tonight is in 1987, Casper, Wyoming had 25 inches of snow and winds to combine for blizzard conditions. A really ugly mess there. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And of course, like I said last night, the kids are on vacation until the 6th of January, but the youngsters from Pearl Creek Elementary School will be here at our next getting together with the kids in January 6th. I keep saying June. I want to give them a lot of free time there. They love that. 11 degrees below 0 tonight, cloudy and cold with occasional light snow. Tomorrow's forecast, cloudy and much warmer in the hills, 2 degrees. And the extended forecast calling for there's Santa Claus on Thursday with maybe a little snow in his forecast. Also, that will continue into Friday with temperatures once again above normal. And look at the temperatures by Sunday and Monday, 18 to 20 degrees above, and overnight lows 10 degrees above. So the warm temperatures continue. Mother Nature's Christmas present.
Amazing. I love it.
It is amazing.
Yeah, and hopefully for New Year's and New Year's Day, that'll be great to see the fireworks display and all that. If we
That's
can
a little
keep
ways
temperatures
off.
out
We'll
there.
keep our fingers crossed
Yeah,
for that.
it'd be really nice to do.
Crossing the fingers.
Yep.
All right, and just want to warn you all that tomorrow is not only Christmas Eve, but it's Stephanie's birthday tomorrow. So, yeah,
It is.
Oh, you know.
The last year that I can...
She's going to be...
Never asked that question.
No, I'm not going to be 30. I'm going to be 29. I'm holding on to my 20s.
One more
Next
year.
year, we're not even going to talk about it. This will be a black hat.
Trust me, once you hit 30, it's all down here from
That's
there.
true.
So everyone tells me.
That is true. I'm 40. That'll wrap up this edition of the Fbx Evening News. We're glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, you know, that's coming up next with Brian Williams, just in case you didn't know.
Faked you out there, huh? Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime, webcenter11.com.
From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.
Good night.